Hi, it's the Irish Gypsy here to give you your March 2016 general reading. I still use the Gilded Tarot deck, drawing 8 cards for the month, 2 cards for each week with an additional card as your overall theme and general feeling of the month. These are general readings, even though you're probably tired of hearing me say that. But these are general readings, so if they don't apply or resonate the same with everyone who watches, I suggest you check your rising and your moon sign as well, depending on your own unique natal chart and what's going on in the world astrologically. Some months your rising or your moon sign can kind of hit the reading spot on, whereas your primary sign does not. So you should watch all 3 of your signs every month anyway to get as much clarification on the path ahead as possible. I know I do. Thank you to those of you who continue to reach out to me for personal readings. Thank you for keeping me so busy. And thank you for the honor and the pleasure of allowing me to read for you. It deepens and improves my own skills as time goes on, and there's not a single one of you that I don't remember and learn from as well. So again, thank you so much for the opportunity to have those one-on-one readings with you. And thanks to those of you who continue to watch and listen and subscribe to my channel. Your feedback and your comments are always so positive and so welcome by me. I do love reading them. I don't always have the time or the opportunity to respond to each one of them personally, although I do try. But I always read each and every one of them, so please keep those coming. I enjoy them so much and greatly appreciate them. And for those of you who are interested in a one-on-one reading with me, you can click on the About sign on my channel's homepage, and that will give you a little more detail about what I do and my contact information. And you can email me directly at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. My turnaround time for readings is 24 to 72 hours. I do read full time, so I work pretty hard to accommodate your schedules and your time zone as well. So let's get right into this reading. This is for Libra for March 2016. Libra, March 2016. What does March hold for my Libras? Libra, March 2016. Libra, March 2016. Let us see what the month holds for you. Okay, we begin the month with the 5 of Swords, followed by the Devil card, the Temperance card, followed by the King of Cups in reverse, the 10 of Wands, accompanied by the Justice card, and the 8 of Pentacles, followed by the 9 of Pentacles. And as your overall theme or general feeling of the month, your crowning card from the bottom of the deck is the Hanging Man in reverse. Interesting. Let's take a look, Libra. Okay, let's begin. We start the month off with the 5 of Swords paired with the Devil card. So the 5 of Swords, Libra, ending February, beginning March 2016. Swords, the element is that of air, and swords is a suit that points towards our thoughts, our ideas, our perspectives, the way we look at things, our ideas, our words as well. It's all about what goes on up here. And I know I always announce, for those of you who watch me, who follow me regularly and watch all my videos, you may get tired of my announcing the elements and stuff at the beginning of each card. But there's always new people that watch, and I like to kind of clarify so they have a better understanding of the card. So for those of you who watch and follow my videos regularly, I appreciate your patience in that. So the 5 of Swords. The 5 of Swords is technically a victory card, although not really. It represents a shallow kind of victory. And the overall question that this card asks is if something is actually worth what you've been doing or not. You can see on this card that this man has just finished a battle. He's been victorious. His foes or opponents or enemies are on the ground behind him, obviously defeated. He has gathered up all their weapons and is holding his own sword aloft in victory. But if you look closer at this card, Libra, you can see this man does not look particularly victorious. He looks tired, worn out, exhausted. He doesn't even look particularly happy or enthusiastic about the fact that he's just won. He's bleeding from a little cut on his forehead. The general theme picture and colors in this picture too. It's kind of a yellowish, smoggy red background. It's not a very happy looking victorious kind of card. And this card begs the question, is it worth it? Has it been worth it? Has everything that you've gone through to reach this rather shallow kind of victory been worth it? And is it worth investing in? The Five of Swords, I always get kind of a circular, repeating feeling to this card, as if this is just one battle in a series of battles this man has fought and is continuing to fight. So again, the question is it worth it? Is everything that you've been putting into this thing actually worth it? Because it looks like it's costing you a great deal. This card is accompanied by the Devil card, a Major Arcana card. Major Arcana cards, as those of you who watch me know, I like to refer to them as fingers of the divine, because those are the energies they represent coming into our life and either helping us, assisting us, or sometimes even removing something from our life that we're unable or unwilling to deal with. And the presence of Major Arcana cards, Gemini, represents an event or an occurrence or advice that has a fair amount of significance and profound impact in our life. So the Devil card is a card primarily of imbalance. This can speak to addictions. It can speak to actual conventional addictions like drugs, alcohol, sex, gambling, shopping, that sort of thing. But it really represents an imbalance in the scales of something. Too much attention and focus put into one specific thing, one specific area, so everything else is kind of out of whack. In terms of relationships, this can represent an abusive relationship, a relationship with a very strong element of an unhealthy element of power and control, too much neediness and clinginess. The same with work. It can be, represent just the workaholic kind of personality, just too much attention and focus in one area, things being way out of balance. So Gemini, I feel like, I'm sorry, Libra, this is for Libra, not for Gemini. I'm sorry, I just finished Gemini, but make no mistake, this reading is for Libra. So Libra, I feel like coming into March 2016, ending February, and actually for those of you who are dealing with, the Devil card represents an imbalance or addiction, an unhealthy focus on something, and I don't think this is a short-term sort of thing in terms of foundation of it. I feel like it's something that's been going on for some time. For some of you Geminis, of course, depending on your own personal natal chart, this is going to resonate differently. For some of you, this is going to represent an unhealthy relationship in your life that's just, the scales are out of whack, it's just really imbalanced. Although I'm not getting, you only have one cup card in this reading, and I'm just not getting much of a relationship feel off of this, and I really haven't for the air signs so far. I think for others of you, this can represent as something to do with your physical, tangible world. For some of you, this is going to represent struggling with an actual addiction to something, an unhealthy obsessive compulsiveness towards something, whether it's an actual substance or, again, a relationship or just a certain habit or pattern you have in your life that represents one in which you feel you're out of control or at the mercy of, and that you just don't have a lot of control over. For others of you, this may resonate. It doesn't necessarily have to be you, Libra. This could be somebody very close to you, a spouse, a partner, a child, a sibling, a very close friend. But whatever it is, it represents coming into the month of March. It feels like you've won, you've had some kind of temporary victory over this thing, or the person you care about's had this kind of temporary victory over this addiction, or this imbalance in your life somehow. But I get the feeling that it's just an ongoing kind of battle, Gemini, whether or not, again, like if this is going to resonate as a relationship for some of you, and for others it's just going to resonate as a very significant and profound imbalance in your life, whether it's attached to your job, or an actual addiction, substance abuse addiction. Um, it, However it resonates for you, you find yourself at the beginning of March 2016. It looks like you've maybe had a little bit of a breakthrough, or you've won something about it, or you've maybe had a small triumph in it. But again, it feels like it's part of a process. Like this has been, again, a long-standing sort of thing. This has been an imbalance that has been existing for quite some time. And it feels like you're still in the struggle. You're still in the battle to overcome this, to bring about some evening out, some balance, and some healing and some temperance in it. But it looks like you're starting the month, either ending February, beginning March 2016, Libra, having achieved some kind of small victory. Perhaps for those of you who are struggling with an actual substance abuse addiction, maybe you've entered rehab or you've gotten yourself hooked up with a counselor, or again, if this doesn't represent you, but somebody very close to you in your life who's going through this that you're heavily involved in, it can represent for them maybe the beginning of a therapeutic process or getting into recovery of some kind. Uh, for those, some of you, this could represent, some kind of addiction in your financial spending habits, and maybe you've gotten yourself, um, you know, uh, uh, maybe you've started some financial counseling services. I don't know why I said that, but it came into my head, so it seems very specifically oriented towards somebody who's watching this. And again, for others of you, this is going to represent a relationship that's been very unhealthy. Perhaps you've made a break, or you've maybe separated yourself temporarily for the time being. But again, it feels like it's an ongoing process. And the Five of Swords, again, the Five of Swords, Gemini, it feels as if the question is it worth continuing the same path that you're on? Perhaps this little temporary victory that you've had, perhaps you've done it before and it just hasn't worked, and you've just gotten to the same place again. And this could be referring to the actual subject itself, again, which is going to resonate differently depending on which Gemini you are watching this. But this overall question, crowning the Devil card, is asking, is this path that you've been on really worth it? And there's a very strong piece of advice attached to this coupling of cards, Gemini, that you really need to sit down and look at this thing, at what you've been doing. Because again, I'm getting a circular feeling from this Five of Swords. It's just one battle in a whole series of battles. Is it really worth continuing? It looks like it's costing you a lot. It looks like it's draining you. You're, picking up a wound here, a wound there, and that it's taken quite a toll on you. And this pairing of the Five of Swords and the Devil card asks you to seriously sit down, take a good hard look at it, and ask yourself whether it's actually worth continuing walking the same path, because it doesn't look like you're getting much out of it. Now, at or towards the second week of March, we have the Temperance card, another major arcana card, a beautiful one, and the King of Cups in reverse. So the Temperance card, major arcana, fingers of the divine. The Temperance card speaks of just that, temperance. This card represents balance, moderation, everything. It's kind of funny following the Devil card. The Temperance card represents everything the Devil card is not. The Devil card is all about imbalance, things being skewed, things being twisted, things being upside down, chaos. And Temperance represents the opposite end of that spectrum. This represents health, balance, moderation, patience. This represents holding a variety of things in perfect union and perfect harmony. This speaks of health and integration, everything, again, that the Devil card is not. And I think it's an incredibly strong piece of advice, Gemini. God's spirit, your angels, guides, the universe, whatever your spiritual foundation is. There seems to be a very strong message here that whatever the source of this imbalance in your life is, it appears to be very significant and profound. And again, I get the feeling that you're just doing the same things over and over again, and nothing's really changing. Sometimes you have little victories, and sometimes you don't. But there's not enough major changes going on in order to change the path itself. And the Temperance card is actually asking you, begging you. It's a very strong message of saying that there has to be some kind of level of balance and moderation brought into your life. It looks like this is a month where You're being asked to really sit down and look at things realistically and make some kind of decisions and changes that will bring about balance and wholeness and healing and integration to your life, because it feels like there's emotions and either you or somebody close to you being really out of control. The Temperance card is paired with the King of Cups in reverse. Now, in the upright position, Cups, the element is that of water, and Cups is a very watery suit. It's all about our emotions, our emotional landscape and atmosphere, both inner and outer. It can also point towards love and relationships, how we relate to the people in our lives and people in the world around us. The King of Cups in the upright position would represent someone, and if this doesn't resonate as you, Aquarius, just because it's water doesn't necessarily mean it can't resonate as you, but it could resonate as somebody else in your life, and it could be a water sign, which is Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. But in the upright position, the King of Cups would represent King being someone who's reached the mastery of their suit. This would be somebody who's reached the mastery of the world of emotions, their emotional reality, somebody very grounded, somebody very in touch with their emotions, but somebody who doesn't allow their emotions to rule them or control them or be out of control um, by them. Somebody very loving, somebody very nurturing, a very good support system. This would be the kind of person that would make a great husband or boyfriend, the kind that would, after a long, hard day at work, cook you a nice meal, maybe rub your feet. Somebody who wouldn't forget your favorite color or your favorite flowers. Um, Somebody who's just very emotionally grounded, someone who rules from a place of wisdom and compassion. Now, in the reverse position, which is how this card has come up for you today, Gemini, this would represent kind of the opposite negative end of the spectrum of emotions. This would be somebody who is perhaps prone to aggressive or just very negative emotional outbursts, somebody who perhaps is going through maybe a period of very strong depression, somebody who's ruled by their emotions, somebody who's controlled by their emotions, which means that they're kind of unpredictable and out of control a lot of the time. When you talk about unhealthy imbalance, the King of Cups in reverse would mean being out of balance in a very profound way, emotionally out of balance. And it's a very clear and very strong message, Gemini, that whether or not this resonates as you or someone very close to you in your sphere, it represents that that the imbalance is seated, is rooted in the emotions, and that temperance and balance needs and healing needs to be brought to this situation in order for you to feel like things are on a more even keel, because it feels very turbulent, very chaotic, and it looks like patience, and it looks like patience is going to be required and hard work is going to be required in this situation, but it's very clear and very strong that you or someone that you love that's very close to you is struggling with, again, either an addiction or just some sense of there's some area of your life or someone you love's life where it feels very out of control. Emotions are out of control. It's very turbulent and chaotic. um, and there's a feeling of helplessness and powerlessness about it, but you're not helpless and powerless in this. There are always decisions and actions we can take, and it looks like this month is the one where you're being asked to take a realistic, honest look at things and make a change, because balance and integration and healing needs to be brought into this situation so that this King of Cups can be reversed back to the upright position again, because it looks like emotions are just way out of control. Again, for some of you, this is going to resonate as you, as dealing with an area of your life or your life overall, that things are just out of balance. Emotionally, you're just not in control of yourself. It could also represent a loved one, a spouse, a partner, a family member, a child even, who's in the grips of some kind of addiction, or you're trying to help them struggle through this, and but it's emotionally unstable, and some balance and temperance and moderation needs to be brought to this situation. And it looks like the outcome of it's going to depend entirely upon what you do, because at or around the third week of March, we're just looking at the last half of March here, we have the Ten of Wands accompanied by the Justice card. So the Ten of Wands, Libra, I hope I haven't accidentally said Gemini again. This reading is focused on Libra, but sometimes the words get a little confused when I do readings close together. So apologize for that ahead of time. This is for Libra. So wands. Wands, the element of the suit of wands is air and fire. And when you think about the elements of air and fire together, it's a very movement oriented, very dynamic, active combination, which is what the suit of wands points towards. Change, movement, action, power, which is what it looks like this situation is strongly calling for. And the Ten of Wands tends to also represent the ending of a cycle, the culmination of something, the wrapping up and coming full circle of something, something coming to an end. The Ten of Wands speaks of something having been a heavy burden. And again, I get the feeling this has been you've been carrying this burden for a long time, whether it's, again, an area of imbalance in your life that you've struggled with, or an area of imbalance in someone close to you that you love's been struggling with, which in turn makes it yours too, because we do share the burdens of the people we love. And this represents something having been, as you can see, a very heavy burden, but that you're just about at the end of it. And how the rest of this plays out is going to be entirely dependent on the choices you make and the actions you take and the intentions behind them, because it's also accompanied with the Justice card. But as you can see in this card, this man is carrying this load of 10 wands. It's so heavy. It's so heavy that his back is completely bowed over with the weight of them. He can't even stand up straight. However, his head is looking up, and I always get the feeling from the image on this card that his home or his destination, where he's headed to, is just right around the corner because he's up and looking at it. And you know, if you're carrying that heavy a burden that you can't stand up straight, it's just you're completely bowed over by trying to hang on to the weight of something. You can't walk and look upwards this time where you're carrying something heavy because it would crick your neck. Uh, and so I always feel like he's the destination. It's almost like you're at the very end of something, Libra. It's the end is right there. You can just about see it. You're actually looking at it. This man is almost there. He's almost to this point where he can reach his destination, reach his home, and lay this burden down. Dump those wands off, stand up straight, take a deep breath, maybe go for a massage. This represents, again, because it's a 10, it represents the end of something, being at the very tail end. And I feel like you're just about there, but that the next step you take and the next series of actions you take are going to be very important. Again, it's been a long burden, but you're at the tail end of it. You're almost done. Now, the Ten of Wands is accompanied, excuse me, by the Justice card, another major arcana card, significant, profound. And you can see that justice here is depicted as justice often is, both in pictures and in statues. It's almost always portrayed as a woman who's blindfolded, holding the scales of justice evenly. Justice is blind, meaning that the outcome and decision of something is supposed to be based entirely on the facts, the logic, the actions of the people involved, not necessarily the intent or the motivations as much as, okay, what's the actual reality? What are the facts here? And that's what the decision and consequences and outcome of something is supposed to depend on, especially when you think of our actual legal system and trials. It's supposed to be dependent on what the actual facts and logic are, not so much the emotions of a situation, which is good because we have this reverse King of Cups here, which represents that this whole situation is really out of balance and emotionally out of balance as well. The Justice card is the card that really says what you sow is what you're going to reap. What you put into something is exactly what you're going to get out of it, and typically multiplied too. So I feel, Libra, that around the third week of March, really the last half of March, it looks like this thing that this very strong area of imbalance that you or someone close to you has been struggling with, balance and moderation strongly need to be brought into this because emotions are out of control. There's a strong sense of imbalance, and there needs to be some decisions and actions taken. You're almost there. You're right at the very tail end of it. But how you proceed from here on out, the decisions you make, the choices you make. Number one, two, the Justice card also speaks of being sticking to your truth, and there's also a strong theme of honor and integrity in this. Remember, make sure to be as honest as you can to proceed with a sense of integrity, meaning what you do and what you say match. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Make sure that the decisions and actions you take moving forward into this thing, and I'm not sure why, it just feels like a very strong message someone needs to hear. Make sure you do it with honor and integrity. You stick by your word, because the outcome's going to depend on that. It's going to depend on You're going into this truth, honor, integrity. What you do is what you're going to get out of this. What you put into this moving forward, the actions you take, the decisions you make are going to decide the outcome of this. How well this plays out, how well this recovery process, or how well this bringing things back into balance and bringing wholeness and healing back into your life and maybe the life of somebody else as well, so that you can finally reach a point where you can lay this burden down and walk away from it in a successful way. So at or towards the end of the month, we have the Eight of Pentacles, followed by the Nine of Pentacles. Wonderful cards to have. It shows hard work, but hard work paying off, which is what moving through this path is going to, it looks like it's going to play out for you, Libra. And it looks like, you're a very balanced, very thoughtful sort of individual, as a lot of air signs are. You're truth seekers. You're very into what's fair and what's just, and being thoughtful and logical about a situation. And I feel like that's really what's going to win the day and allow this burden to finally be laid to rest, but laid to rest permanently. Because remember, we started with this Five of Swords, this battle, and again, I feel very strongly that it's just been ongoing, and it could continue to go on for some time, depending on what you do from here on out. The Justice card says, if you continue to do the same thing, it's going to continue the same. Nothing's going to change. So this is the month to actually make a change. So you can lay this burden down, but not have to pick it back up again, that you can successfully lay it down and move on into the future and into healing. And it's going to take some work, but if you stick with it and persevere, you're going to be absolutely successful. We have the Eight of Pentacles here. Excuse me. So Pentacles, the element is that of earth, and it represents things in our earthly tangible environment, things we can see and touch and feel. Most often it's things like money, finances, job, resources, property, assets, that sort of thing. And the Eight of Pentacles, as I nickname a lot of my cards, I call this the worker bee card, because that's what this guy represents. You can see that this man is sitting at his desk. There are seven big, beautiful pentacles dancing above his head. He has worked on each one of them individually, very dedicatedly. Dedicatedly, is that even a word? He's been very dedicated. He's really persevered, and pentacle by pentacle, he's managed to put these away. And he is hard at work on the eighth one. And you can see from the weather and atmosphere outside that the sun is setting. It's getting late in the day. The candles are already lit. Maybe he's been burning the candles at both ends, and he is hard at work on this eighth pentacle because he has a goal in mind. This card is about the slow but steady and successful building up of the foundation of something, because you can see he's already been quite successful. He has these seven pentacles already built up, and he's hard at work even though the sun is setting, the candles are burning. He appears to be alone. His coworkers are probably having their after work cocktail hour, but he's still at his desk. He's still working. And that's what this card represents, and it represents doing it in a successful way, that the work that you put into this is really going to pay off, which, following the Justice card, just echoes the message of the Justice card. Temperance and balance, healing balance needs to be restored to this situation, Libra, so that you can finally lay this burden down and again not have to pick it back up again. And how the rest of this plays out and your success in doing that is going to depend entirely on what you do, on the work that you put into it, which is what the Justice card says. The Justice card says what you put into this is exactly how it's going to play out, is what the outcome is going to be. And that is followed up by the Eight of Pentacles, which is a very strong piece of advice saying you need to work on this, you need to persevere, to stand by what you say, because you're going to be successful at doing it. And for those of you who have successfully begun whatever process it is you've decided on to bring this wholeness and balance and healing into your life, you're being successful. And it says that the continuation of that is what's actually going to win you success at the end of the day, that's going to allow you, Libra, to lay this burden down and never have to pick it back up again. And you will come to a place, if you persevere in this, of empowerment and self-confidence, self-assurance. You're going to get to that beautiful place of of having control of your life again, of being able to manifest your own destiny and your own path and dreams. As the Eight of Pentacles is accompanied by the Nine of Pentacles, which is just a jump up from what that Eight of Pentacles. We have the Eight of Pentacles, which shows all the hard work this person is putting into this something. The long hours, the perseverance, maybe even when he wants to give up, even when everyone else is out and playing, he's still at this thing, and it leads him to the Nine of Pentacles. This is the result of this Eight of Pentacles. You can see that this woman is, she's enjoying the fruits of her labors. She's dressed in a beautiful gown. She's able to take, obviously, very nice care of herself. She's in her beautiful garden. It's a beautiful day. She has all these beautiful things that speak of physical comforts and luxury, all these beautiful pentacles, which she has worked very hard on. These are the pentacles that she's been working on, pentacle by pentacle, which has brought her to this place of being able to finally enjoy them. So she's not having to work so hard. This is a person who has had very little, if anything, handed to her on a silver platter. Every single thing she is now enjoying, she has earned by dint of her own hard work, her own dedication and perseverance, her own unwillingness to give up, to stay the course, to stay on the path, which has brought her to this place where all that work she's done has been successful. And so it looks like a very clear message, Libra. Let me just take a quick look at it and see if I can pick up anything else. So we'll do a very quick recap. You're in the middle of this battle. You perhaps either won a small victory of it, or you put yourself on a path to wholeness and healing. It looks like there's a lot of imbalance in this situation, particularly emotional imbalance. Again, whether it's a relationship, a conventional addiction, a combination of all of those, whether it's you or someone that you love very close in your sphere. This is a situation that is begging you to bring and restore balance and healing and integration back to it and to your life. Looks like it's been a very heavy burden, but that you're just about at the tail end of it, and that the way that it plays out from here on out is going to depend exactly on your own sense of truth, honor, integrity, and the work that you put into it, which at the end of it, if you stick by all those things, if you don't give up, Libra, you're going to be successful, and you're going to find yourself in a place of not just success in terms of this thing itself, but that's going to create and build a sense of self-confidence, of empowerment, of being able to take control back of your life, and to be able to walk the path that you want and manifest the reality that you want to manifest. And now is the time to act. It feels like now is the month that you're being called on to do that. The time of inactivity and being in limbo and suspension is over, because your crowning card, the card that represents the general theme and overall feeling and advice for the month, we have the Hanging Man in reverse, another major arcana card and a piece of significant advice. In the upright position, this can represent being in limbo, just kind of hanging there, being in stasis. I can represent just standing by a decision you made, even when it appears to the outside world, to be out of line or out of character. In the reverse position, it speaks of the opposite. That this man is not struggling; he's just kind of hanging there. He's just okay with being suspended in limbo. In the upright position, I really feel quite strongly, very strongly, particularly since it's major arcana card, Libra, that the overall advice and message this month is that now is the time for being in stasis, for being held in limbo, for not struggling against this thing is over. It's time to continue this battle and actually finish it successfully once and for all, to do whatever it is you have to do to continue this path. That the time for, again, the time for inactivity and being in limbo is over with. It's time to act. You're being called to act. It's a call to action this month, Libra. I'm sorry. I'm having problems with the word today. It's a call to action, Libra. But it looks like you have everything that you need in order to accomplish this path. You have the strength. You're going to be given the patience and the strength to do it too. You have a fair amount of major arcana cards here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcana cards. Just like half of this reading is major arcana. You're going to have the support that you need, but you've got to put in the work. It looks like you're going to be very successful in doing it. For those of you who are already in this process and who feel very discouraged, don't give up, because that's what's going to win at the end of the day, and it is going to win at the end of the day. It's going to put you at this place. So Libra, what a kind of intense sort of reading, but the message looks very clear. There's nothing complicated about this. It feels like it's been very chaotic and very turbulent and such a burden, but you're almost there. Keep at it, keep working at it. no matter how discouraged you feel, because the outcome is going to depend entirely upon what you put into this thing. And it looks like at or towards the end of March 2016, maybe playing out a little bit into April as well. But it looks like that's what's going to make you successful and feel like you have control of your life again, and this and have the balance and the integration and healing that looks like it's so desperately called for. So Libra, I hope you've enjoyed this reading. I hope it has resonated with you, or at least given you some insight and clarity and food for thought on the path ahead. Again, it looks like a month of action time. It's time to actually finish this thing up. And again, for those of you for whom it hasn't resonated, I suggest you check your rising and your moon sign as well. For those of you who are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me, you can click on the About sign on my channel's homepage and email me directly at maggie1maguire@gmail.com. I appreciate any and all feedback you have to give. And until I see you again in a couple of weeks for the March mid-month readings, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and as always, a happy life. Thanks for watching, Libra, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.